thinking, okay, defining what is it? What did you first stumble upon, or what popped in your head? What were you thinking as far as?
Of course, with my psychology major background, I start thinking the love languages, right?
Okay, yeah.
Like if that's something.
That's not a new thing. That's pretty popular. Okay, now what are the love languages?
Well, okay, off the top of my head.
Ice cream?
I don't think I was a very good student. Well, I'm thinking fancy cars, nice dinners. I think that's what you call, receiving gifts, right?
Okay. Oh, okay. I was like date one. I don't know. I'm listening.
I don't know. Fancy cars, fancy dinners.
Yeah.
Receiving gifts. Let's see. There's quality time.
Okay.
I'm like,
we hang out all the time.
Yeah,
she's like, but you don't say anything.
But you don't say anything.
Do you have to?
We're watching Netflix and I won't finish that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so,
That's more the physical, right?
Yeah, the physical touch.
Okay. Big one? Sure.
Yeah. Words of affirmation.
Okay. So I'm guessing some of the text there then is figuring out what your partner's love language is. Truth be told,
apparently that's supposed to be the secret ingredient.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I've been told.
That's what my therapist told me.
Yeah.
She's like, just ask her, dude.
I've been married, let's see.
What is it?
Oh my gosh, how long have I been married? I've been married 15 years.
What?
And we've been together for 16.
Ooh.
And I can tell you that this on this article, it just does not work that way.
Oh,
okay.
Well, thanks for bringing it in.
You're
Next,
welcome, Brian.
I was really hopeful. We've been together, carry the two, 11 years and engaged for 30 minutes.
Oh, I love it.
The verdict's still out, right? You're like,
it's
that
okay.
Sounds problematic.
I've never been engaged. We sort of just got married.
Yeah.
It was one of those like, would you like to get married? Sure, makes sense. It's a good investment.
Taxes.
Right. Tax deductions.
Yeah. Well, and looking up some of the evidence or what people thought love, they kind of make that distinction of love is different, right? Because it's kind of a force of nature, and that's what I saw. I don't know if you know Deborah Unapologetic. She's a clinical psychologist, but has wrote several texts on love. There's an excerpt that I guess was published in Psychology Today, but she talks about it being this kind of force of nature. It's own entity, and you can't buy it. It can't be sold, because the marriage part of it it's riddled with like the contract piece.
Right, the business deal.
The business, right? And so people have tried to mask it, they've tried to force it, control it, right? And she says, look, you have a better chance at controlling the weather, the moon, the planets. Because we know that people struggle when you try to manipulate, force it. Right. That now the motivation is because we're human, and that's something we're longing for, right? In a relationship,
that companionship, right? And that's kind of where I was, because I was like, well, I want to say we were 5 years in when I first heard love languages.
Okay.
And then realizing that we each had a unique way of showing and receiving
it. Right. Well, and that's what I was thinking when I thought of it. The first thing that popped in my head was love is action. You're like, well, that's too simple, dude. Okay, because I was thinking, just working with clients, they sometimes you should on yourself. I know we've mentioned that before, but like you make assumptions.
Right.
You're unable to communicate what you need sometimes, and then because you're not getting it, then we assume something of our partner that may not be true. Right.
I know
spouse,
what you're saying.
Our wife. Whatever.
You kind of like make it up. I'm feeling away, and so you make up something to justify why you're feeling away.
Correct. Okay. Right. Your brain, and that's a natural thing. Your brain's doing that on purpose.
How
but
often does that lead you to trouble?
Right. And if you ever have heard, look, sometimes you see what you want to see. You just start seeing things that may not be there, connecting dots. Because, well, if they really loved me, they would not be doing this. They would be doing something else.
Yeah.
But the communication is so huge. But sometimes we think, well, if you loved me, you would have known.
Right.
But we know it's not like that, and it's problematic. But what's funny is you sent this over, right? And I'm like, okay, thinking Summer of Love. Let's what are we gonna put together? So that's the first thing that popped in my head. Love is action, right? And I felt okay with it. And then I said, you know what? I really need to ask my girlfriend, okay, my fiance, right? So then I sent a quick text. I was like, hey, what's love to you? What is love? Do you mind throwing me a definition real quick? First thing that pops in your head. And she sent me a freaking dissertation. Okay. And I was like, I'm just going to read this. She says, love is generous. It is a choice. We choose to love. It is expressed in sacrifice. Our willingness to sacrifice. I know I'm sweating already.
God, this is great.
Our own desires. Okay, so we sacrifice our own desires for the needs and wishes of those we love. It does not require reciprocal love. It gives us strength. And lastly, love is godliness. God is love, and we conform to the ways of God. So our life should be characterized by love. And I was like...
And that was a text
message. Did you
message.
Follow the instructions here?
Yeah.
I'm thinking, first of all, do we just become best friends?
Yeah.
And I think I'm failing, dude. I should have asked this years ago.
Yeah, but she's my hero. I mean, that's great.
Holy night. You know what? I was like, I'm turning my 2 weeks notice in. There's a job opening. Why don't we switch places?